Hi friends, it's Gwen. Today I'm coming to you with my May wrap-up, and I have quite a few books, so I'm not really going to go into too much detail, but yeah, let's get into it. So first off, I read Red Queen by Victoria Aveyard, and again, I wasn't planning on picking up this book, but I got sent this for my uppercase subscription box back in March, I think. I keep getting the month mixed up, but anyway, uppercase sent this to me, so I wanted to go ahead and read it, and it was really hyped, and I'm not into the hype, but I read it, and of course, I was disappointed. I gave it 3 stars. Everybody knows what this book is about. It's the Red Bloods versus the Silver Bloods. The Red Bloods are more like subservient to the Silver Bloods. The Silver Bloods have a whole bunch of powers, and the main protagonist in this book has powers, or she presents powers, or I don't know what the word is I'm looking for, but basically she shouldn't have these powers, but she does, so like what's going on? And I didn't really hate the book, but there wasn't anything new or interesting or exciting about this book, and I'm still on the fence on whether I'll pick up the second book. I mean, I just don't know. There was one thing. Oh yeah, okay, I'm sorry, and I know editing has to be a bitch, okay? But when there is like misspellings or extra letters, it is so annoying. So I marked that on here on page 244. Let's see, line 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Line 10, it says, "They leave AA." So obviously that's a mistake, and it should have been caught, but it was put out inferior, so there's that. But anyway, yeah, 3 stars for Red Queen. Then I picked up a book I'm super excited about. I did my nail art tutorial on this book, and yeah, so that is To All the Boys I've Loved Before by Jenny Han. This is the first Jenny Han book that I have read, and I absolutely loved it. Let's see what I gave it, because I don't remember my star ratings. I'm pretty sure I gave it 5 stars. Yes, I gave it 5 stars. I loved it. It was super cute. It kind of left on a cliffhanger, but it could have been as a complete book. I do have a review on my channel. I have my nail art tutorial on this book, and yeah, I highly recommend you pick it up. The companion novel just released, and of course I hauled that in my last video, and I'm super excited to read that hopefully soon. Another book that I didn't put in my pile here to show you is Street Vegan. I talked about that in my haul video. I didn't really read the whole thing because it is a cookbook, but it does have stories interwoven throughout. So as I do the recipes and I pick up the book from time to time, I will read some more of those stories. I rated that book 5 stars as a cookbook because I loved the stories interwoven throughout. I love that the recipes are really varied. There's lots of great pictures, and yeah, I just really enjoyed it. Then Ribsat started, and thank goodness, because as you can see from the first couple weeks, I read 2 books, and I was getting a little discouraged, and I was worried that I wasn't going to have a good month, but I picked up The Hobbit, which we all know, goes on a journey, and it's awesome and it's great, and I read the illustrated edition, which really helped me and kept me motivated, and I finished it in 1 day, so yay me, can't believe it. I gave it 5 stars, of course, because it was awesome. My only thing is that of course sometimes it is a little hard. I think it helped that I watched the movies first. But then I picked up Slide by Jill Hathaway. I rated this 3 stars just because it was a little strange. I liked the concept of the story, and the characters were pretty decent. But basically a girl has narcolepsy, and she can slide into the consciousness of other people, and one of her sister's friends gets murdered, and then another friend gets murdered, and she's worried that her sister may be next. So she's sliding into the consciousness of people around her, trying to figure out who done it. But 3 stars. Then I picked up Amy and Roger's Epic Detour. All this was still through Ribsat, and I absolutely love this book. This is the second Morgan Matson book that I read, the first one being Since You've Been Gone. And yeah, I loved this one. I loved the playlists that were included. I loved the receipts and the pictures, and that the author actually took the trip herself, and you know, so she could have the pictures and the receipts and so forth. So I thought that must have been really awesome, and I would love to go on a road trip with her because she seems like she knows how to have a good time, and she's beautiful beautiful and nice, and she's an excellent author. But yeah, I rated this 5 stars, and I listened to the Spotify playlist of this as well, which I highly recommend if you have Spotify. I mean, you can get it for free. It just has like little ads, kind of like Pandora. But anyway, yeah, loved this one. I picked up A Vampire Academy by Michelle Mead, and yes, I had to like double check. It's Michelle Mead, right? Anyway, yeah, so I picked this up. Again, this is the only book that I have in the series, but I plan on picking up other ones because I did enjoy this. I gave it 5 stars. I know I have a lot of 5 stars this month, but yeah, this was absolutely lovely. One thing that I left out, and I don't think I've heard of anybody talk about this when I've read or when I've watched their videos, but it has 2 instances of cutting in it, so there's a trigger warning for that, definitely. It is a vampire book, so you would expect some blood and gore and things like that, but maybe not necessarily cutting, and there are 2 incidences of that in this book. So I did mark those, and I'm sorry I forgot to talk about them. I'm in my RibSat wrap-up and all of that, but I absolutely loved the friendship of Rose and Lisa, and I love the romance aspects of it. I like the vampire history, new, unique take on that story, and yeah, I can't wait to pick up the other books in the series. Then I picked up A Room by Emma Donoghue, and this book I believe I gave 3 stars. Yes, I gave this 3 stars, and I did talk about this in my RibSat wrap-up, but I just felt that I understand that it was supposed to be written from a 5-year-old perspective, and I understand the premise of the book, but I don't think a 5-year-old in that situation would have the same voice that he had. So for that reason, and it took a while to be able to just read it like a normal book. So, I mean, for the beginning, I was just like stumbling over the linguistic stuff, and I just couldn't get over it. But then once I did, I mean, I really enjoyed the story. I liked the characters and all of that. It was a little slow in points, but overall, I mean, it is a good book. I'm glad I read it, but I probably will not be keeping it because I probably will not reread it. Next book I picked up is 1,000 Pieces of You by Claudia Gray, and I loved this book, you guys. It was unexpected. I knew that there was a lot of hype when it first came out and stuff like that, and I kind of waited. Bethany from Bookbound sent this to me for my birthday. Once again, thank you, Bethany. I did talk about this in my wrap-up, but I didn't know what to expect, and I knew it had some interdimensional type traveling in it and stuff like that, and I've really never read a book that has that in it, and I just really loved it, and I loved the, you know, the character dynamics and so forth, and I believe I gave this 5 stars. Yes, I gave this 5 stars. Totally well deserved, and I can't wait to read the sequel. The next book that I read, and I actually started this before RibSat, but I paused reading it. I made it to page like 310, and then after RibSat was over, the day it was over, I read, or maybe it took me 2 days. I don't really remember. I finished the first book in the Fallen Kingdom series, Fallen Kingdoms by Morgan Rhodes, and this book, I searched high and low for this book. It took me forever. I bought the first, second, third book all in hardcover, and I left this unrated. I'm not sure how I feel about it. I feel like it was extremely long, and I feel like there were so many characters introduced, and the world was being built, and there's 3 separate regions, and yes, there is, I will show you, there is a map in the beginning, and there is a character breakdown by region and stuff like that, but I just felt like in this first book, I'm so confused on like what is actually going on. I mean, I feel like we're getting a huge introduction to the characters and the world and kind of setting things up for book number 2. But I feel like this is a huge read. This is over 400 pages. 412 pages, and I don't feel like I really know what the point of the book was. And I'm not saying that I hated it. I did not hate it. But I was just so confused. I mean, I would start getting to like a character and then they were killed. And then, I mean, I felt like I was reading Game of Thrones or something. I mean, every character in this book was practically killed except for like a couple of the main characters. Everybody else died. I haven't picked up book number 2. I mean, I have it on my shelf, but I don't have any desire to like pick it up anytime soon, which I'm kind of shocked about, as much hype as this book got. I was really looking forward to it, and I still just, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. But, you know, I mean, I'm sorry that I don't have a better explanation. I mean, I wrote a couple of things on Goodreads, and I always have my Goodreads linked in the description box. Let's see. I'm trying, I mean, I buddy read that with Mads from Madly Books, and okay, here's what I wrote. I just finished this book and honestly don't know what to rate it. I usually use the 5 basic story elements to help me get my rating, but even that's not helping. Leaving unrated for the time being, I suppose, until I could weed through my thoughts and feelings on this one. I have books 2 and 3 sitting on my TBR shelf, but I am not immediately drawn to them. Here's what I do have to say though. Although there was a character list broken down by kingdom, I still find myself getting confused on who was who and which region was which. Overall, a lot was introduced, and I think it was too much. This book was extremely long, and I found it slow-paced, honestly, and it really was slow-paced. I did feel like I was watching or reading Game of Thrones because there was so much death. Because there were so many characters and I kept getting them confused, I really couldn't like any of them too much. The ones I didn't end up liking died. The setting was set up nicely, the 3 separate regions, but again, the flipping back and forth chapter to chapter was confusing. I think I need to make my own notes as I read the other books in this series. Reminds me too much of doing homework. It read very slow paced to me, but maybe that was due to so much being introduced and explained, and I was trying to keep everything straight, although I failed at that. I'm totally confused as to what the central conflict was, but there were several that presented themselves as the book progressed. The ending was decent enough, but I'm just not sure who I like, if anyone, and if and when I will pick up the next book. So yeah, that's what I have to say about that. Then I picked up Chew, a graphic novel, volume number 1, Taster's Choice, and I want to say a couple things about this. First of all, I have heard rave reviews about this, and I was super excited about the uniqueness and the whole, you know, Sebopathic, where Tony Chew is a Sebopathic, and he can take a bite of an apple and get a feeling in his head about what tree it grew from, what pesticides were used on the crop, and when it was harvested. Or he could eat a hamburger and flash into something else entirely. So he only doesn't get psychic readings from beets, so he buys all these like canned beets and all that. So I've heard like rave reviews of this, and I ended up giving it 3 stars. Let me tell you why. I loved the artwork. I love Tony Chew. I mean, him as a character is just, he's so cool. So I really liked him as a character, but I felt that the story was slightly repetitive, and I felt that the artwork was also slightly repetitive. I do want to continue on in the series, and I do hope it gets better. I don't think I'll buy more than 1 extra copy because I want to see if volume 2 gets a little bit better and so forth. Some of the artwork, I probably won't be able to find where it's like so repetitive, but there were just some moments that were really repetitive throughout. I probably will not be able to find. Well, like for example, this panel right here, it's just the same, and just the words were changed, and I don't know. There were definitely some panels that were just, for several panels, nothing changed, just the words, and I'm new to graphic novels, so maybe that's like a thing. I really don't know. I really enjoyed the unique aspect of the cebopathic thing, but I feel like the whole bird flu chicken thing was kind of weird, and I didn't really understand it, and it didn't really intrigue me. So the only thing that intrigued me was the whole cebopathic thing, and I really like Tony Chu, and yeah, I don't know. I don't feel like I got enough from this, and yeah, so I don't know. And then the last book that I finished was actually another graphic novel, and that was Locke Key by Joe Hill and Gabrielle Rodriguez. I've been wanting to pick this up forever. I know that Mindy from Mindy Reads, I know she hasn't made any videos in like a really long time, but I think she was like one of the first people that I heard talk about this series. And also Bookadoodles. Yes, I think it was Bookadoodles. Bookadoodles has read this as well. And yeah, I've been meaning to pick it up forever, but I never jumped into that graphic novel thing. But of course now I have, and this new year I've picked up quite a few. And I was having like the hardest time like finding this in my bookstores, and then finally I found volume 1, and they only had volume 1, so go figure. But this is very dark and gritty, and it follows the story of a family that loses their father. He gets killed, and then so they move to his childhood home, and of course it's the the Locke house, and it's very like a mysterious house, and yeah, it's just, there's like ghosts and spirits, and there's these keys, and I don't want to give away too much. If you like dark and graphic and, you know, things like that, like this is definitely for you. Some people don't really like the artwork. The artwork didn't bother me. I mean, it probably isn't my favorite artwork, but I felt like it really fit with the story, and I'm really excited and anxious to see what volume 2 holds, because the only thing that I really didn't like about it was the well room. Like, I don't want to like spoil it, but there was like a main plot thing in here that I really didn't get. Like, I was just like, is that the best that they could come up with? Like, it was just so confusing and so weird, and the whole well room thing and the echo and all of that. Like, I was just like, what? Like, but I loved the family dynamics. I loved trying to find themselves after their father got murdered, and escaping to a new area and going to a new school, and, you know, things like that. I really enjoyed that part of it, and it had those paranormal, you know, things as well, which I enjoyed, but some of it wasn't as great as other parts of it. But yeah, those are really all the books I read. I read quite a bit, actually. So these are the books that I read. And yeah, I mean, if I had to pick a favorite, oh, I don't even know. Like, I'm really proud of reading The Hobbit. I had some really good reads. 1,000 Pieces of You was excellent. Vampire Academy was excellent. Amy and Roger's Epic Detour was excellent. And To All the Boys I Loved Before was excellent. If you've read any of these books and you want to talk more about them, let me know in the comments below or tweet me. I'm really excited about them. I had a really great reading month. I read 9 books and 2 graphic novels, and it's not actually the very last, it's not the very end of May, so I'm actually probably going to finish up one more book this month, and then I'll just include it in my June wrap up. But yeah, I had a great reading month, and I hope I have a great June reading month. I don't know if I'll read as much. Ribsat really had me motivated, and I read quite a bit during that week, so thanks Miranda for Ribsat. And yeah, but those are the books that I read. I'm going to be looking at all of your videos on what you read this month. But yeah, that's it for me today. I'll see you again next time. Bye!